Today I've asked various YouTube friends what would be the one thing that they would choose for their garden, and you might be quite surprised at some of the results. It includes a very familiar face, one of those incredibly rare and lucky people who wants for nothing in their garden, who has everything they could possibly dream of. What would be the one thing that you could choose for your garden?
Hey everybody, it's Jim from the Lake Effect Gardener, and I'm coming to you from sunny, snowy Buffalo, New York. And I want to thank Jane for reaching out to me for this nice little collaboration. And we were asked if we could have anything at all for our garden for Christmas. What would it be? Santa would bring it, put it under the tree. That totally rhymed. Money was no object, so I had to think long and hard about this because there are lots of things that I actually already have for my garden. There's lots of things that I love doing that wouldn't require some kind of newfangled technology. But I think the one thing that I would love the most would be an irrigation system, some kind of a sprinkler or a drip irrigation system that could reach all of my raised beds. I've got 14 raised beds now, and they're of all different shapes and sizes. And the one thing I dislike doing the most during the hot and dry summer is to go out and water the garden. So anything that I could use in the way of drip irrigation, it would have to be fairly large, Santa, so empty out your wallets. I would really, really love that. So yeah, drip irrigation. Thanks so much again, Jane, for reaching out. I hope everyone watching is having a wonderful holiday season, and Merry, Merry Christmas to all of you. I'll see you all soon.
Well, thanks, Jane, for inviting me to contribute to this one Christmas present that I would like sort of collaboration. And here on Allotments for Fun and Food channel, there's a few things that I would like. But if I have to really distill it down to one, it's going to be one that is going to play an important part for the rest of the year for me. Well, I've got it behind my back. It's clearly not heavy. This wood chip. Now, wood chip's been an amazing journey over the last year. It used to be in abundance. In fact, a lot of allotments had it dropped by the council or by tree surgeons for their use on the allotment, and that seems to be diminishing big time. And for me, I've tried the council, I've tried tree surgeons, and unfortunately for them, it would appear that it's now a bit of a revenue stream. So it's getting in short supply. And well, I'm hoping that Santa is going to bring me a drop of wood chip. And then I can finish all the paths that are part of my downsizing project so that I end up with a low maintenance plot. I hope you have a great Christmas. Thanks, Jane, for including me. And let's hope Santa brings all the gardeners what they want. Good times.
I'm Rue from Rue's Life, and I absolutely love this one, so thank you, Jane. I really had to have a good old think about it, but if money was absolutely no object, I love growing in this polytunnel. So I've got two things, I hope that's okay, on my wish list. So first and foremost, it would be a bigger polytunnel, because I find it so successful growing in here that if I could double or even triple the size of this polytunnel, that would be absolutely awesome. But on a similar vein, whilst I really do like the size of this polytunnel, I'm certainly not complaining. If I could have a netted tunnel the same size as this, that would be next on my wish list, because things like my brassicas, that, you know, it's so difficult, isn't it, growing things that are prone to those external environmental factors, growing under netting where we're not having to lift it up and put it down and crawl underneath it. If I could have a netted tunnel that I could keep those doors shut, open them while I'm in here to let the pollinators that I want in, but close them up to keep the pesky pests that I don't want in, I think actually that might be top of my wish list.
Thank you, Jane, for inviting me onto your channel. Will here, Flying Gardener. Now, Jane's asked me a question. She's asked me, money no object, what would you like from Santa this year? Now, my answer is this. Let me show you. Okay, you know what I'd love? I mean, my wonky shed is gorgeous. It's not gorgeous, but it does me for now. Do you know what? If money was no object, I'd get an absolutely all singing, all dancing new shed. Fantastic. And then I'd have here, this would all be rearranged. Now this is where my greenhouse is going to go, my new greenhouse. However, do you know what? If money was no object, I'd have a massive polycrub all the way here. Massive, all the way out to here, with an adjoining shed, with a lovely little seating area, all attached. I could walk straight from into my shed, right through, into the polycrub and out the other side. How amazing would that be? So yes, Jane, that is my wish list from Santa. So if you could make that happen, that would be fabulous. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Good morning. It is November 23rd. It's chilly out, but not too bad. It stopped raining for a minute, so I thought I'd come outside. I was talking to Jane Kelly, and she was asking about, if money was no object, what would you like to do in your yard? We've had this discussion before. What I would like to do, I'm staring up the ceiling because my polytunnel's got a bit of a drip. What I'd like to do is get a polytunnel that's 4 times the size of this one and get electricity in it, because then you can run fans and heaters and light. And with the extremes in weather that we've been having, I could really use that heat now, and I could use fans and cooling systems in the summertime, because it got to like 40 something degrees in here. But that's not going to happen, because electricity is at a gong show price now everywhere in the world, even here. And I don't need it. It would be a wishful thinking. But yeah, that's what I'd like to do. Well, anyway, good to see you all. Have a great day. Bye, Jane. Bye, Mike. Keep safe.
So when Jane came to me and asked me what would be that one thing if I could have for Christmas, I thought long and hard about it. And as much as I'm happy that I've inherited this polytunnel on my new plot, and it's going to be recovered in the spring, I would absolutely love a polycrub. So I chose the polycrub because, I mean, look at that thick exterior. I mean, the fact that it can withhold all that wind and snow is fantastic. And I know it'll last me a lifetime. And plus that they look absolutely beautiful. The polycrub, I think, was designed for the Shetlands to withstand all those battering winds. And I just think that that would be an amazing thing, and it'd be a lifetime thing to have. You know, it's not going to need recovering, and having nice big thick oak beamed raised beds inside would be an absolute dream of mine. So my thing would be a polycrub with nice thick oak beams in. Thank you, Jane, for inviting me onto your channel. I'm Danny, and this is the Grapevine Garden.
Hi, I'm Emma, and Jane has very kindly invited me on her channel today to answer one question. If money was no object, what would I buy for Christmas? And it didn't take me very long to think about this. So in June, July this year, I went away on holiday, and I was away for 2 weeks, and it's the peak of the summer season. So I have 2 greenhouses, and they get very hot in the summer. And although I've got an automatic window opener, both of the greenhouses did overheat, and if I show you my cucumbers, they didn't do very well, as you can see. So if I was to ask for anything for Christmas, it would be a greenhouse watering system. That way I can go away on holiday, it will slowly drip feed into the greenhouse. I can put feeds into the water butt so it feeds it as well as watering it, and keeps a consistent supply of water to my greenhouse and my poor cucumbers. So thank you, Jane, for inviting me on your channel, and that is my #1 gift for Christmas, a greenhouse watering system.
Alright guys, just having a quick look round what I would like for Christmas. Homing in, homing in. Here we are then. This is what I would like for Christmas. Good price as well. And they're white. Oh, green. Green. 2 green ones. Go and get a trolley. Oh, there we are then, good old Dobbies. They worked out £5 each, cheaper than Sutton's, and there's no postage, so I'm happy with that. And that is on my wish list for Christmas, fulfilled.
But what if you already had everything you could possibly dream of in your garden? What would be the one thing that you couldn't do without? Let's ask Tony.
So Jane's asked me one of the things that I wouldn't do without in my garden, and for me that is a hoe. You see, a hoe, you can really get down taking off those weeds very easily, and it just makes life very easy. The thing is here, we're pretty much no dig as well, so I might be digging maybe 5 or 10% of my garden every year, but the rest of it is no dig. So a hoe is really important, and it's my number one tool, so much so that I don't just have one hoe, I have about 15, but these are 4 of the most used hoes I have. Now here I have a Wolf Garten hoe. As you can see, they're all dirty at the moment because I'm using them, but again, this is another one, and it's really good. Now the principle of a hoe is to just get below that surface area and cut everything off at that level. It's really important with no dig. Leave the roots in the ground. It feeds the microbial life and it makes life so much easier for you. Cut off the top growth, put that in the compost, bring out new compost, put on the top, you're ready to go. Those roots will create little waterways as they rot. It'll create food for the microbial life, the worms and everything else in your soil, so it keeps them good over winter. It helps to prevent erosion and all sorts of things. So we have a couple of push hoes, we have a Dutch hoe, we've got a draw hoe here, yeah, and all of these are my 4 main ones that I use around the garden, and an oscillating hoe. And these are all really good because, you know, they're designed to do specific tasks. So these are the 4 things. Any sort of garden hoe would be the main thing that, or the main tool I wouldn't do without in my garden. Forget the forks and the spades and everything else. If I could only have one tool, it would be some form of hoe.
So okay, Jane, what's your choice? Well, you know by now how much I love this place, and if I could, I would live here. But because that is not allowed, I would like to have an all singing, all dancing shed that we could sit in, that we could entertain people in. Wouldn't need to have electricity, I'm not being greedy, but some sort of solar energy so we could light and heat it if necessary. Running water so we could go and clean up after a heavy day on the plot. Some sort of wood burning multi-fuel stove. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that actually might be quite doable. And so from dreaming of this huge, beautiful chalet at the top end of the allotment, I think next year we might be making a few changes to our humble old blue shed. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below what you would do for your garden if money was absolutely no object. It'll be really interesting to read through. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye for now.